Welcome, class. Let's get dramatic. Today we're going to be talking about set design and construction. So listen up, crew. I hope you won't be surprised when I tell you set design starts where all theater design starts, reading the script. That's right, we have to look for clues. Yes, and look for clues we will. The first place you look for clues is the top paragraph at the beginning of the scene. Sometimes a playwright just hands you a shopping list. Oh, like when it says setting, a messy kitchen with a broken chair and a window overlooking a garden? Exactly, that is the start of your shopping list. Where it starts, but not where it ends. The script literally tells you what must be on stage before the first actor even speaks, but then you have to dig deeper into the dialogue. Because if the character says, "Close that window," it's freezing. What did the playwright just tell the tech crew? That the window we just put in the kitchen actually has to close. We can't just paint it on the wall. Bingo! That is what we call a given circumstance. We definitely need that to be able to open if they're going to put into the script that it needs to close. It's given. After we write down a list of things the scene needs for every single scene in the entire play, we then meet with the director to get the director's concept. Imagine if the director said, "I want to do Cinderella." We all read Cinderella. We would all envision it in different ways. So we come back together and the director says, "I want to do Cinderella and I want it to look like a rusty, dusty, old junkyard." Oh, so then the messy kitchen wouldn't just be a messy kitchen. It's made of like scrap metal and old tires and stuff. That is our job to figure out and design based on the director's concept. We have to make sure that we are interpreting and understanding the director's vision correctly. We are going to create a mood board to show to the director and the other designers. This makes sure that we are understanding and executing the director's vision and that they understand ours.
We'll use these gears for the kitchen appliances and the tires for the staircase. The aesthetic is purely junkyard, rusty.
The core idea is integrating these rusted elements directly into the kitchen set design.
Even the gears on the table here?
Exactly.
Once everyone is on the same page, we draw what we call an overhead plot. It's a 2D map so that everyone can see the plan for the set. If I put a giant sofa right into the middle of the stage and don't tell anyone, what happens to the actors? Well, they'd probably crash into it during a dance number or something. Exactly. We use the plot to map the traffic pattern so actors can move without a 10-car pileup. It's really important that the director and choreographers know what the stage is going to look like before they start blocking the scene to avoid conflicts and problems. Not to mention then they'll be able to work with the set. Now that we have our 2D set and it is approved by the director, we move on to the 3D design. Chloe, you're an artist. If you want to draw a wall to look scary, do you make it smooth and shiny? No way. Add some texture. Maybe some rough stone made of foam or a tattered fabric that looks like cobwebs. That could be cool. Yep, that would definitely be cool. Precisely, we do this small 3D design so that we can test colors, textures, sizing of furniture, doors, things like that. And then once we know it all looks fantastic together, we can start building our scale model. A scale model is a tiny 3D version of the set. So not just a design like we did before, but a full set. Why do you think we build a small set for? Because if the giant tower I built falls over in the model, it only ruins a piece of cardboard instead of crashing into our classmates? Well, yes. Safety first always, but even more than that, it allows everyone to get a real idea of the stage. If something does not work because the couch you built can't fit through that stage door, even if it looked like it could in the 3D design, we do not make the couch the same way, or we make the door bigger. We don't want to spend our money or our time on making something that is not going to work for our full show, so it's easier to make miniature versions before we go and do the big. Not to mention you'll show other designers like lighting and props and they'll be able to work within your ideas and see what's happening, especially the lighting crew. It is incredibly helpful for them to be able to see where they can hang their lights to create the different shadows and angles that they want. The more you check with other designers, the more cohesive the final product will look. The model is our final draft before we start our full set construction.
I really wanted the Junkyard Cinderella theme to shine, so the focus is on the distressed wood kitchen and the scrap metal castle in the back.
We're to the building phase. You can't just grab any piece of wood. Look at these. This is plywood, this is Luon. Oh, Luon, it feels kind of like a cracker, it's so thin. Yes, Luon is light and thin. We use it for the skin of our flats or the outside walls because it's easy to move and lightweight. But you wouldn't want to build a platform for 10 actors to dance on it. Oh yeah, you would need something much thicker. We always need to match the material we're using for the right job. Light wood for things that we heavy, and then heavy, strong wood for things people stand on or things that don't need to move. The same thing goes for hardware. All the different types of hardware have their specific uses. You wouldn't want to use a wood screw to attach two pieces of metal together. Oh yeah, that would probably just snap or spin around and get hot. Right, it'll fail. We use self-tapping metal screws for metal-to-metal products. Wood screws for wood projects. There are all different types of screws, and you can find out the exact type of screw or bolt or anything like that that works for the material. And for safety, especially on things that vibrate, you need to not just use bolts, but locking bolts. There is a nylon locking nut that has a little plastic ring inside that grips the bolt so that when things move and jiggle and the actors are running around, it won't come off and jiggle out of place. So now that you have built your walls and your platforms, we don't just want it to look like wood. Maybe we want it to look like a 100-year-old pirate ship. How could we do that? Well, we could use dry brushing to make the wood grains and sponges to make it look like mossy and stones. Yes, we aren't just house painters, we are illusionists. We use the paint to help lie to the audience's eye, bring them into the world and leave the world they're in behind. You can also use additional things like foam to create trees and texture, fabrics with paint, latex. There's so many different ways that we can create illusion. And it's a really fun thing to learn how to create all these different effects. Once everything is painted, everything looks amazing. The lights are going to be coming on, and we need a running crew. The running crew is the crew for the live show. They are going to be into the moving phase. Every scene change is choreographed like a dance. If the scene change takes 3 minutes, what happens to the audience? Well, they start checking their phones and eating popcorn too loud. At least that's what I do. Well, yes, they get bored. We aim for invisible transitions. We move set pieces on wheels, called casters, to swap out the world in 30 seconds or less. Other things we can use is a fly system, people coming up in costume and hurrying and moving things as part of the tech crew. We always try to make it as seamless as possible. We practice this over and over and over again during Tech Week to make sure that we are as rehearsed and ready as the dancers and actors are. We choreograph each movement like we're ninjas, silent, speedy, and keeping everyone safe. After closing night is over and the audience is gone, we now do strike.
Thank you.
It feels wrong to take it down after all of that hard work, but in theater, nothing is permanent but the memories. We carefully unscrew the flats, pull the staples, and organize the hardware. We don't want to just smash it with sledgehammers, we want to preserve it. Yeah, because we'll need it for our next show. Right. We recycle and stock the materials. We leave the stage as a blank slate and even sometimes fix the paint if we had to screw into the wood floor, so that everything looks exactly like we started. It is the end for this show, but will be the beginning for the next one. So this is a quick overview of what is set design and construction from script all the way through strike. There's a lot more to it. This is just the beginning. But for those of you that love this, there is a lot of room for creativity, construction, and imagination.
a green couch and a brick wall,
Yes.
and then the red swatch on the table matches the paint for the brick. Perfect.
Teachers, please like and share so I can continue making content.